What would you do if one desperate kiss changed your entire life? Today's story is about a Kenyan woman who kissed a dangerous stranger to escape the men following her, only to discover he's Korea's most feared crime king. What starts as survival becomes something neither of them expected. Love, danger, second chances, and two broken souls finding healing in each other. This one will have you on the edge of your seat. So grab your snacks, hit that subscribe button right now because you don't want to miss this. The rain-slicked streets of Itiwan reflected the city lights like scattered diamonds as Nyambura pressed her phone closer to her ear, pretending to be deep in conversation. She wasn't fooling anyone, especially not herself. The two men had been following her since she left the publishing house, their footsteps deliberate, unhurried. They knew she had nowhere to run. 8 months in Seoul, and this was how it would end. She'd come from Nairobi with such grand plans, a master's degree in her pocket and determination in her heart. Her family had thrown a party when she got the editor position at the international magazine. Finally, their Nyambura was making something of herself. But they hadn't warned her about men like Director Choi, who saw her rejection as a challenge rather than an answer. Her heart hammered as she calculated her options. The subway was 2 blocks away, but they'd catch her before she made it. A taxi wouldn't stop in this weather. Then she saw him, leaning against a Mercedes-Benz, checking his watch with the impatience of someone used to being obeyed. Everything about him screamed danger, from his tailored black coat to the way his security detail stood at attention nearby. Perfect. Nyambura didn't give herself time to reconsider. She crossed the street with purpose, her heels clicking against wet pavement. The man looked up as she approached, his expression shifting from annoyance to curiosity. She could see the exact moment he registered her intent because his entire body went tense. Then she kissed him. His lips were cold from the night air, but they warmed quickly under hers. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then his hand came up to the small of her back, steadying her, and she felt the shift in his breathing. When she finally pulled away, just enough to whisper against his mouth, her voice shook despite her best efforts. "I'm so sorry. Please don't push me away." Not yet. Lee Tae-jun had built his reputation on reading people in seconds. It was how he'd survived 34 years in a world where hesitation meant death. But this woman, with her desperate eyes and trembling hands still clutching his coat, was a puzzle he couldn't immediately solve. Over her shoulder, he watched 2 men freeze on the opposite sidewalk. One nudged the other, gesturing frantically at the car. They retreated quickly, their confidence evaporating. "They've gone," he said, his voice lower than he'd intended. She jerked back as if electrocuted, nearly losing her balance on the wet pavement. "Oh God, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. That was completely inappropriate. I'll just—" She turned to flee. His hand shot out, catching her elbow with surprising gentleness for someone who made grown men weep. Who were they? Nobody. It's fine now. Thank you for— I'm sorry for— Who were they? The steel in his voice made her flinch. Men who work for my former boss. Men who don't understand that no means no. She lifted her chin, defiance breaking through fear. But I handled it. You handled it by assaulting a stranger in the street. Something that might have been amusement flickered across his face. Do you make a habit of this? Only when I'm desperate. She tried to pull away, but his grip remained firm. They're gone. You can let go now. They left because they recognize this car. Because they know who I am and what I'm capable of. He studied her face, committing it to memory. You just told everyone watching that you're under my protection. In my world, that means something. The blood drained from her face. I didn't know. I didn't mean to. Your name. Why does that matter? Because those men will report what they saw. Because their employer will need to decide whether you're worth angering me over. He pulled out his phone, already typing. So, your name? Nyambura. Nyambura Wanjiku. Lee Tae-jun. He gestured to his driver. Get in. We'll take you home. I can take the subway. You can get in the car, or you can explain to Director Choi why his men ran away scared. His expression didn't change, but something in his tone made it clear this wasn't a suggestion. Choose quickly. I have a meeting. She hated him for being right. She hated herself more for getting into the car. The interior smelled expensive, all leather and subtle cologne. Nyambura kept her eyes fixed on the window, watching Seoul blur past. She could feel him watching her, could sense the questions he wasn't asking. "You speak Korean well," he said finally, "but your accent is different. I've been here 8 months. From Nairobi. And you already have powerful men sending goons after you. Impressive. I didn't ask to be harassed. No, but you chose me as your shield. That was either very clever or very stupid." He leaned back, studying her with those unsettling dark eyes. "I haven't decided which yet. Does it matter? After tonight, I'll never see you again. You think it works like that? You used my reputation to save yourself. That creates obligations. Expectations." His phone buzzed, and he glanced at it before continuing. "Director Choi is about to get a very uncomfortable phone call. You're welcome. I didn't ask you to. You kissed me in front of witnesses. You made yourself my business." His voice remained calm, almost bored, but there was an edge underneath. "Now I need to decide what to do about that." The car stopped outside her building. Nyambura grabbed the door handle, desperate to escape. "Thank you for the ride. I'll be more careful about who I kiss in the future. This building has no security. Your lock is standard issue. Anyone who wants to find you will find you." He said it matter-of-factly, like commenting on the weather. "Pack a bag. You're staying somewhere safer." "Excuse me?" "You heard me. My driver will wait while you pack. You can't just kidnap me because I kissed you. I'm not kidnapping you. I'm protecting you from the consequences of your own actions." He met her furious gaze without blinking. "You don't have to like it. You just have to survive it. I came to Korea to build my own life, to be independent. Independence and stupidity aren't the same thing. Neither are freedom and safety." He checked his watch again. 10 minutes. "Bring clothes for a few days. Leave your laptop. I'll have a secure one sent over." "What if I refuse? Then I'll have my men pack for you, which will be embarrassing for everyone involved." His expression didn't change. "Your choice." Nyambura wanted to scream. She wanted to slap him. She wanted to march upstairs and lock her door and pretend this night had never happened. But she could still feel those footsteps behind her, still hear the threat in Director Choi's last phone call. This stranger was arrogant and controlling and probably dangerous, but he'd made those men run. That had to count for something. 3 days, she said. Then I'm gone. We'll see. She grabbed her bag and climbed out before she could change her mind. Behind her, she heard him make a call. His voice was sharp, commanding, nothing like the almost gentle tone he'd used with her. She wondered which version was real. She wondered if it mattered. Inside her apartment, Nyambura's hands shook as she threw clothes into a bag. What was she doing? Getting into cars with strange men, agreeing to stay at their homes. This was exactly the kind of reckless decision her mother had warned her about. But her mother had also told her to marry safe, marry young, marry obedient. Look where playing it safe had gotten her, stalked by her boss and terrified in her own city. Her phone rang. Director Choi. She stared at it, debating whether to answer. Before she could decide, someone knocked. She opened the door to find Taejun standing there, phone in hand. He answered her phone without asking permission. Director Choi. This is Lee Taejun. Ms. Wanjiku is under my personal protection as of tonight. If you or any of your associates approach her again, I'll consider it a declaration of war. Do we understand each other? He paused, listening. I'm glad we could have this conversation. Goodbye. He ended the call and handed back her phone. 7 minutes. Are you always this slow? Are you always this insufferable? Usually worse. Are you ready? She grabbed her bag and followed him down, feeling like she was stepping off a cliff. Whatever happened next, her life in Seoul would never be the same. Taejun's penthouse covered the entire top floor of a building in Gangnam. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the city, and the furniture looked like it belonged in a museum. Nyambura stood in the center of the living room, her small bag suddenly feeling ridiculous against all this wealth. Guest room is down that hall. Second door. He shrugged off his coat, revealing an expensive suit underneath. Bathroom is stocked. Don't answer the door for anyone. So, I'm a prisoner. You're protected. There's a difference. Is there? Because from where I'm standing, You just forced me into your home and gave me orders. He turned to face her fully, and she saw something dangerous flash in his eyes. If you were my prisoner, you'd be locked in. If you were my property, you wouldn't have your own room. You're a complication I didn't ask for, and I'm handling it the only way I know how. If you have a better solution, I'm listening. Let me go home. Let me live my life. So, you can end up dead in the Han River? So Director Choi can save face by making an example of you. He poured himself a drink. No. You stay here until I neutralize the threat. Then you can go wherever you want. I don't need you to save me. You kiss me to save yourself. You already made that choice. He downed the whiskey in one swallow. Now you're stuck with the consequences. They stare at each other across the expensive carpet. Nyambura wanted to throw something at his arrogant face. She wanted to storm out and prove she didn't need his protection. But she was also exhausted and terrified and, despite everything, she felt safer here than she had in weeks. I hate this, she said quietly. I know. He set down his glass. Get some rest. Tomorrow we figure out how deep this goes. Why are you helping me? Really? He was silent for a long moment. Because when you kissed me, I felt something I haven't felt in 3 years. And I'm selfish enough to want to understand why. Before she could respond, he walked away, leaving her alone with that confession hanging in the air. Morning light painted the city gold. Nyambura found Taejun in the kitchen, glaring at a coffee maker like it had personally offended him. Technology problems? She asked. This machine costs more than most cars, and I can't make it work. He looked genuinely frustrated. My assistant usually handles this. She crossed to the machine, studied it for a moment, then pressed a sequence of buttons. It hummed to life. You're welcome. Smart and brave. Dangerous combination. Speaking of brave, can I use your kitchen? I can't think on an empty stomach. Help yourself. I should warn you, I'm not good with spicy food. Then you're about to expand your horizons. She pulled out ingredients, her movements confident. My mother always said you can't trust someone until you've shared a meal with them. Wise woman. Stubborn woman. She wanted me to marry my neighbor's son. Nice boy, safe job, boring life. Nyambura cracked eggs into a pan. I wanted more than nice and safe. So you came to Korea alone. So I came to prove I could. 20 minutes later, they sat across from each other eating chapati and spiced eggs. Taejun's eyes watered, but he kept eating with determination. You don't have to finish it. Yes, I do. I don't lose. Not even to breakfast? Especially not to breakfast. He took another bite, then reached for water. This is excellent, by the way. My pride is just wounded. She laughed, really laughed, and something in his expression softened. You should laugh more, he said. It suits you. Hard to laugh when you're being held hostage. Protected, same thing. It's really not. He set down his fork, all humor gone. The men following you work for someone connected to the Huang family. They run trafficking operations. If Choi is involved with them, this is bigger than harassment. Nyambura's appetite vanished. Trafficking. I've put out feelers. We'll know more by tonight. His jaw tightened. But if I'm right, you stumbled into something dangerous. Those men weren't following you to scare you. They were following you to take you. The room spun slightly. Oh God. Hey. He reached across the table, his hand covering hers. That's not going to happen. I won't let it. Why do you care? You don't know me. I know you're brave enough to kiss a stranger to save yourself. I know you cook when you're nervous and you bite your lip when you're thinking. I know you left everything familiar to chase a dream. His thumb brushed across her knuckles. That's enough. She should pull away. This man was dangerous and controlling and entirely too comfortable with violence. But his hand was warm, and for the first time in months, she didn't feel alone. Tell me something true, she said. About you. He was quiet for so long she thought he wouldn't answer. Then, my brother's name was Lee Juno. He was 16 when he died. Nyambura squeezed his hand. What happened? My father worked for the Young organization. Low-level enforcer. But he made a mistake, skimmed money to pay for Juno's medical treatments. He had leukemia. Taejun's voice went flat. They killed them both. Made me watch to teach me about loyalty. How old were you? 19. Old enough to remember every detail. Young enough to think I could have stopped it. I'm so sorry. I spent the next 15 years building power, making sure no one could ever hurt my family again. He laughed bitterly. The irony is I don't have family left to protect. Just an empire built on revenge. Is that why you're so good at this? The protection thing? I'm good at it because I failed once. I won't fail again. She understood that completely. My sister was named Wanjiru. She was 17. Bright, beautiful, full of life. Her throat tightened. Some boys at her school drugged her at a party. By the time we found out, she'd taken her own life. Jesus. Everyone told my parents to let it go, to avoid scandal, to think of her reputation. Tears burned behind her eyes. So I left, because I couldn't live in a place where protecting reputation mattered more than protecting girls, where my sister's death was just something to be ashamed of. Taejun stood, moved around the table, pulled her up into his arms. She went rigid for a moment, then collapsed against him, letting him hold her while she shook. He didn't offer empty platitudes or tell her it would be okay. He just held her, solid and warm, and somehow that was enough. We're a mess, she said into his shirt. Completely. Is this why you're helping me? Because I remind you of your brother? No. I'm helping you because you're the first person in 3 years who made me feel something other than rage. He pulled back to look at her. You make me want to be more than what I've become. I'm not here to fix you. I know. And I'm not trying to fix you. His hands framed her face. But maybe we can figure out how to be whole together. She kissed him, not desperate this time, but deliberate, choosing him the way he was choosing her. His response was immediate, pulling her closer, deepening the kiss until they were both breathless. We should stop, he murmured against her lips. Why? Because if we don't, I'm going to want things I shouldn't take. What if I want to give them to you? His control cracked. He kissed her again, harder, more urgent, then swept her up and carried her down the hall. They spent the afternoon learning each other, mapping scars and sharing stories, building something fragile and fierce. Later, tangled in his sheets as sunset painted the sky, Nyambura traced the tattoo on his shoulder. What happens when the 3 days are up? You leave. His arms tightened, and I spend the rest of my life remembering what it felt like to be human. That's dramatic. That's honest. He turned to face her. Stay. Not because you have to, because you want to. I don't know if I can trust this. Trust you. Then don't trust me yet. Just stay long enough to find out. She kissed him instead of answering, and they lost themselves in each other again. 2 days later, Nyambura woke alone. Voices drifted up from downstairs, sharp and angry. She crept to the landing, recognizing Taejun's low rumble and a woman's frustrated tone. She's a liability. You know it, and I know it. The longer she stays, the more questions people ask. I'm handling it. By falling for her? By letting her distract you when we have the Kim syndicate breathing down our necks? Very professional. Nyambura's stomach dropped. Watch yourself, Mina. Someone has to. You're jeopardizing everything for a woman you barely know. She has no connections, no skills, nothing that helps us. She's dead weight. Silence. Nyambura gripped the railing, waiting. You're right, Taejun said, and her world tilted. She doesn't belong here. Then end it. Pay her off. Get her somewhere safe and walk away. I'll handle it. Nyambura didn't wait to hear more. She dressed quickly, gathered her things. Dead weight. Liability. Doesn't belong. The words echoed with every movement. Her phone buzzed. A text from Taejun. Car is waiting downstairs. Driver will take you anywhere you need. So he couldn't even face her. Just arranged her exit like a business transaction. She was in the elevator when her phone rang. Don't. Nyambura, wait. Let me explain. No need. I heard everything. I'm a liability. Dead weight. Someone who doesn't belong. She laughed, the sound brittle. You know what's funny? I actually believed you. Believed this meant something. It does mean something. That conversation wasn't what you think. I think you agreed I was a problem you needed to handle. I think you're exactly like every other man who wants to control my life. Her voice cracked. Thank you for the protection. I'll manage from here. You don't understand. I understand perfectly. Goodbye, Taejun. She blocked his number and told the driver to take her to the airport. It was time to go home. Taejun stood frozen, staring at his phone. She'd blocked him. Well, Mina said carefully. That went badly. He turned, and she actually took a step back from what she saw on his face. Get out. Taejun. You had no right. No right to speak about her that way. No right to make me question what we have. I'm trying to protect you. That woman will get you killed. Or she'll give me something worth living for. His hands shook. I spent 15 years building power, and for what? To be alone? To be so feared that the only person brave enough to touch me does it out of desperation. You're not alone. You have us. Your organization. I have soldiers and associates and people who obey me out of fear. She touched me because she chose to. She stayed because she wanted to. He grabbed his coat. And I let you drive her away because I'm a coward. Where are you going? To fix this. To prove I'm not the monster you think I need to be. He headed for the door. And Mina, you're right. She doesn't belong in my world. So I'm going to become someone who belongs in hers. The airport was chaos. Nyambura sat at her gate, staring at her boarding pass for Nairobi. Going home felt like admitting defeat, but staying felt impossible. Ms. Wanjiku? She looked up to find an elegant woman holding an envelope. I'm Suji. I work with Mr. Lee. He asked me to give you this. I'm not interested. Please. Just look inside. Then decide. The envelope contained documents. Lots of documents. Police reports. Financial records. Photos of Director Choi being arrested. Evidence of the trafficking network being dismantled. A handwritten note. Nyambura, you don't belong in my world as it exists. My world is violent and dark and built on everything you left Kenya to escape. But these past days with you showed me there could be something different. Not for you, though you deserve better than what I am. For me, because you reminded me I used to be someone capable of hope. The threat against you is gone. Choi and his associates are finished. The Huang network is being investigated. You're free to go anywhere, do anything. I meant what I said about wanting you to stay, but I also meant it when I said I want you to be free. So this is me choosing your freedom over my happiness. You saved my life that night, not from danger, from emptiness. Thank you for 3 days of feeling human. Forever grateful, Taejun. Tears streamed down her face. Suji handed her a tissue. He's been impossible all day, she said gently, snapping at everyone, making reckless decisions, but also determined. I've never seen him care about anything except power until you showed up. I heard him agree I was a problem. You heard him agree before he fired Mina for disrespecting you. Before he spent all night destroying the organization that threatened you. Before he decided to prove he's worthy of you. She smiled. Sometimes powerful men say stupid things when they're scared. The question is whether you can forgive him. I don't know if I can trust him. Then don't trust him yet. Trust what he did. Watch his actions, not his words. She stood. He's waiting at the cafe near your gate. If you want to talk. But no problem. After Suji left, Nyambura sat with the evidence, the note, the boarding pass. Free. But freedom, without connection, felt hollow. She thought about her sister, who'd never had the choice to be brave, who'd been silenced by fear and shame. Nyambura wasn't going to live that way. She unblocked his number and texted, "Wait there, we're talking about this now." He was at the cafe, looking destroyed. Hair disheveled, exhaustion carved into his face, suit rumpled. When she walked up, the relief in his eyes was so naked it hurt. "You came." "Yes, talk now. My flight leaves in an hour. I'm sorry. For what you heard. For not defending you immediately. For being too afraid to say out loud that I love you." Her breath caught. "I love you," he repeated, stronger. Completely. Recklessly. In a way that terrifies me because I've spent 15 years making sure I never care about anyone this much. He leaned forward. "Mina was right that you don't belong in my world. But she was wrong about what that means. It doesn't mean I should let you go. It means I need to build a different world." You can't change who you are for me. I'm not. I'm changing for me. Because you made me remember I used to want more than revenge. His hand reached across the table. I can't promise my past won't follow us. I can't promise every day will be easy. But I can promise that I will choose you. Every single time. And I'll spend the rest of my life proving I'm worth the risk. That's a big promise. I'm a powerful man. I keep my promises. She laughed despite herself. So arrogant. So in love. His thumb brushed her palm. Stay. Give me a chance to show you this is real. And if it doesn't work, then I'll let you go. His jaw clenched. And spend the rest of my life grateful I got to know you at all. Nyambura looked at him, really looked, saw the fear beneath the confidence, the hope beneath the control, the man beneath the reputation. Okay, she said finally. We try slowly, with boundaries and honesty, and the understanding that I'm not giving up my life to fit into yours. I don't want you to. I want to build something that fits both of us. Then let's build it together. His smile could have lit the city. She kissed him across the table, tasting coffee and promises and second chances. Your flight. He murmured. I'll catch another one. To visit my family. Introduce them to someone important. She pulled back. Think you can handle my mother? I've faced down crime syndicates. How scary can one mother be? You have no idea what you're in for. Good. I like a challenge. They left the airport together, hands entwined. Souls sprawled before them, full of possibilities. Somewhere in the city, Nyambura's gallery dreams waited. Somewhere, Taejun's empire was transforming. And somewhere in between, two broken people were learning to be whole together. 6 months later, Nyambura's photography exhibition opened to packed crowds. Her series, Between Worlds, Nairobi to Seoul, hung on gallery walls, capturing the journey of finding home in unexpected places. Taejun stood beside her, his hand warm at her back, pride evident in every line of his body. That one's my favorite, he said, pointing to a photo of rain-soaked streets. Because it's where we started. She looked closer. There, barely visible in the corner, was a figure in a black coat. I didn't realize I'd captured you. Destiny. So cheesy. You love it. I love you, she corrected, and watched his face transform. Completely. Recklessly. Exactly the way I swore I never would. He kissed her there in the gallery, surrounded by her art and their story. When they broke apart, both were smiling. Take me home, she said. Your place or mine? Ours. She corrected. Take me home to the life we built. As they walked through Seoul's glittering streets, Nyambura thought about that terrified woman who'd kissed a stranger to survive. She'd been so afraid that kiss would trap her. Instead, it had freed them both. What did you think of Nyambura and Taejun's story? And what do you think will happen in the final episode of their story? I can't wait to share that with you in the next chapter. So like this video, subscribe to my channel and share your thoughts in the comments. Before you go, I want you to rate the story on a scale of 0 to 10. See you in the final episode.